So we are not live just yet. I'm just checking my settings. Boom, there we go. So it looks like I am there. Oh, I'm like 10 minutes early. So I'm just going to let me so we got let me see. I jumped on early because I just wanted to make sure everything was working correctly. Um, so we got about 10 minutes before it starts out. So if there was any fine tuning or tweaks like that, I'm just going to take care of that now. Um, but to but today is about building a cold call workflow. Make sure that the cold call workflow is working great for you. What to look out for as far as the Twilio errors, and what else to do as far as when you bump into those landlines, because we try to get all mobile numbers into the system, but the landlines are just going to be there. You can't do anything about it. So um, we're going to have some techniques on how to do that. Uh, I'm Tony, right? And I've been doing this channel for a while now. Primarily love the technology around real estate investing. Was a real estate agent for a long time. Been doing wholesaling since 2020. So I know my stuff, and even though these techniques can be applied to everybody, my focus or my specialty is in the real estate niche. Um, but in the real estate niche, it doesn't really matter, right? Because like it all applies. We all have sales pipelines that we have to hit, certain goals that work. So as long as we hit those, we're good to go. You know. Um, Let me see something here. Let me go over to my Facebook and just see if there's anything there. Okay, boom. Let me put at everyone in here in the comments. What's going on? What's going on, Joe? So I'm just going to send that out. I'm a few minutes. I'm a few minutes early, man. Um, but like I was saying, this is primarily I use REI Reply, Go High Level. It's all the same thing. REI Reply just added in a couple of more features, specifically around real estate investing. But been on the system for 4 years, so that's where the focus is going straight towards real estate investing. But like I said, everybody has a sales process, so it's going to be the same path, right? Customer comes in, he's a new lead, boom, 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 money. Right? That's it. That's how it goes, right? That's the path. So we're looking to get that money in our hand, and how can we organize it by using this system? So we're going to do that. Okay. Um, Let me see. It's about six more minutes. Um, One thing about this here is, let me just tell you about a person that I spoke to last night. So, had an issue with the A2P registration, which everybody is having an issue with. It's not easy, especially if you haven't done it a couple of times, right? So, had a problem with the A2P, has had the system for a couple of months, but when that happened, just shut it down, right? And that's unfortunately that's normal, right? You see that happen a lot. Okay. Nothing you could do about it except we could move forward, right? So we got the A2P situation resolved because she didn't have a website. One key thing that you guys should know if you're not A2P registered is they require the terms and conditions box on the actual form. So what she had was a drop down menu that had do you opt in, right? And there was a drop down menu with yes or no on it. Well, so here's the problem with that, right? Is that let's remember that the people who are approving our A2P registrations, those people are just desk people, right? They have a 9 to 5, just like everybody else. So they're not going to look at your particular form and go, okay, let me find where the information is on this form when they have potentially like hundreds of people sending in information every day, right? So they're looking to make sure that your stuff matches what they have approved. So if your stuff matches the examples that they provide, you should be fine. You shouldn't have any problem. As long as you got the website, the EIN number is correct, everything is connected the right way, and you use the right opt-in language. They give you examples right there on there. So don't ignore those. Right? Look at the example. Copy that, put it into the text box right there. But make sure that you change the phone number, guys. A lot of times they give you, so if you haven't been through it, they will give you an example that has a sample web page. So it's a sample web page, and they'll have a fake phone number there too. Well, I've had people copy the whole thing and not change those sample website and not change the phone number, and then they get automatically denied. They just don't like that. So again, they're 9 to 5 people. They're there until Friday, and then they could go home to their family. Right? Everybody's been there, so just make it as easy as possible on them. Oh, and the terms and conditions box is on the forms. If you go under sites, forms, elements, then you'll see something called the T and C. That's the terms and conditions, and that's where you would drop that box on there, and that's the fancy little box that says, "Click here if you opt into our terms and conditions." Right. Make sure that you have that for all your A2P. We about 2 minutes out, and I'm gonna just crank it. I'm just cranking. So I did one last week where I did the same thing and kind of flew through it a little bit. But I want to show you guys how you can effectively go through these cold calls. It's going to be on a single line dialer, right? But you'll make sure to get all of the information, as much information as you can possible, through these workflows. So we're going to set it up from scratch. If you don't have any workflows, or if you already have some workflows and you see how this can help you a little bit, or a way to, see, so with most people, what happens most of the time is you'll see a video and you'll figure that this workflow will work in your system. Oh shoot, sorry about that. Will work in your system, but it's not the exact same, right? So I talk about that a lot. You could always check out a couple of videos, and then usually the answer will come together, or just do some elbow grease and figure the whole thing out. So, oh, it looks like it's 4:30. All right. So look, I got this going on. I'm going to show you guys. I kind of teed it up already about the workflow on doing some cold calling straight from the system. So there's a couple of different ways to make phone calls, but I'm going to show this way so that it kind of goes all in the order, and then you could bang those out. Okay. So let me show my screen here. And I'm going to go with this one here. Let's see. Yep. Share. Okay. So we're good to go. Okay. So right here, let me see. Let me make sure. Okay. All right. You guys should be seeing my screen right now. Let me just confirm that that's happening. Yep, you guys can see my screen, but I don't know if you can see me. So if somebody tells me that they can't see me or something like that, let me know. All right. So check it, check it. So we're going to start out with a brand new, fresh workflow, but let's check a couple of things in the settings first. Okay. So in the settings, we have to look for what's called the Twilio check, okay, to make sure that the number can receive text messages. That's one that's going to cost you every single time that you check, okay, but it's like less than a cent, okay. So let's jump into that here. Let's see. Boom. Okay. Can you guys see? Can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see? Okay, I guess that's the way that it's looking to you guys. All right. All right. Boom. Okay. So you can see that. All right. Cool. So let's go here. Let's bring this down. And you guys are seeing that right there. All right. Cool. So first things first, let's go to our settings. Okay. And when we go to settings, we're going to scroll on the right side. And on the right side, it's going to be, excuse my screen, I have the blackout mode on here. I don't know if that's a little confusing for you guys. Let me take that off. That's a little system that I use to save my eyes, dark reader. Okay. So we can see here on this side right here, it says if we want to make SMSs compliant, but right above that one is validate phone numbers when the first SMS is sent to a new contact. That's the one that we want to use because what it does is it sends out a signal, right, to see if that number can be texted or not. It also works when you call them. So if you are comfortable with doing cold calls, when you call first, then you'll see it changes right there, and you'll be able to see a message that this one failed, the text message. But I'm going to show you how to get yourself a little better alert than that. Okay. So now that we have this set, we know that this is going to check for all of those messages. So now let's jump back into our workflows. And under our workflows, we want to use the phone system. So let's do one straight from scratch. And we're going to add in this one is going to, you can do it one or two ways. You either need a trigger, so something happens in order to kick off this workflow. So let's say someone replied with a certain word or a certain tag was added. Then that's one way to kick off a workflow. The second way is just to add them straight up to the workflow. Okay. So the way that you do that is, let me go here. So the way that you do that is we're going to skip this trigger step. And what we're going to do is put a call action here. Okay. So it's two different options. I don't want you guys to get confused by this, but two options. One is going to have this message here. This is not the one that you want. Okay. This has to do with a call connection. And you don't want to use this by mistake, because what happens is it calls one person and then it calls you and tries to connect the two, right? Now, if you add a lot of people into the workflow, then that's going to happen over and over and over until the workflow is done. So what? Don't choose this option, okay? Let's back out of here and we're going to choose call, and we're going to do the manual call, okay? I'm going to save there, okay? So that's just going to bring the call down. But what happens after the call? Okay. So let's remember, we want to call people, but we don't want to end there. Okay. It's sort of like going into driving for dollars, right? And just going through there and just writing down addresses. You don't want to do that. You want to do some additional stuff too. You want to leave a letter or something like that, right? So what we're going to do next is let's leave them a voice message. Now you can leave a voice message on the call, those four rings, and then you leave a voice message. And by the end of the day, you're going to hate yourself because you repeated this message 40 times. Okay. So instead of doing that, let's just use the system where we can use a voice message. Okay. Now, the way that the voice message works is you add in an MP4, upload the file right here. And let me see if I have a RVM here. All right. Same one. Okay. And I don't know if you guys can hear this.
Hey, this is Angeli, and I'm calling about one of the properties that you own.
Okay. So, boom. Oh, hold on one second. So, that's the voice message that's included there. Okay. Um, so, what we're going to do is we're going to leave that there and we're going to save this and we're going to leave a voice message. So, it's dominoes, right? We're going to, one second. I don't know why you guys can't see me. Can you guys see me? Nope. Yeah, I guess that'd be better if you guys want to see me. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. So after we leave the voice message, then we can leave a text message. Okay. So let's just type in a real quick text message here, and that's going to be, we could send the SMS, and this is going to be to send it manually. So, boom. Uh, Hi, I just called about the place on Main Street. Call me when you can. Okay. So we're going to leave that quick message there. We're not going to get specific, and we're going to save it. Okay. Now we can get specific by adding in the custom tags and all of that stuff, or the custom values, but I just didn't do it here. Uh, as a matter of fact, that's not even doing it right. Let's do it right here. We're going to say hi, and we're going to choose the contact name. Okay. So this value is going to fill in with the contact's first name every single time, no matter how many times you change the contacts or anything like that. So very powerful field here. So high contact name. I just called about the place on Main Street. Call when you can. All right. So boom. Once we do that, then we have that. Boom. Now I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, well, this is going to send out the manual call, voicemail, then the SMS. But what if it's a landline? That's fair, right? So let's think back. So what we need to do is figure out if it's a landline or not. So let's do this and mark this one as our call system. Call system. And let's save this one. Okay. So let's go out and let's figure out how we're going to weave this and make sure that we mark the ones that are that can't be texted. So let's create a new workflow, start from scratch. And remember, there's two ways to add to a workflow. One is the trigger, the other is by force, adding it to the workflow. So let's back up here. And this one, we're going to add a trigger. Okay. And this trigger is going to be Twilio validation error. Okay, so that's already set for you as a workflow. We just have to use it. So the Twilio validation error, they have two options for you. So one, the error is not valid. And we're going to come here. Oh, sorry. We're going to come here. Not valid. Save. And then we're going to do another one here. Since there's two, and we're going to do another one where the error is SMS incapable. Okay. So now that we have those two options, then we want to make sure that we mark them in a certain way. So very first thing is if it's a not valid phone, I'm sorry, hold up. Let me mark this as SMS incapable. And cap. Oh, boom. All right. So if one is an error, right, because it's a not valid phone, and the other is SMS incapable, then we're going to use the if then statement and just say if. I almost made a mistake, but I'm going to show you exactly why that was almost a mistake. Because if we go to workflow trigger and we go is, nothing shows up here. Okay. The reason why is because we haven't saved it. Okay. So we got to save it so that the system knows that it's there. All right. So we save it first. Boom. Then we're going to go right here. All right. So we use if, else, and we're going to use the workflow trigger is, there it is, right? All we had to do is save it. So then we're going to make another branch, and this workflow trigger is SMS incapable, right? So we see these. Now these two are going to be listed as a branch. So in order to clean that up, we want to go not valid, because the whole point in making your workflows is to make sure that your VA or your team member knows what's going on just by looking at the workflow. So right now you can see everything is pretty clearly labeled. Right? Now, if the phone is not valid, let's go ahead and tag that with, I like to say dead, because if the phone isn't valid at all, then let's go ahead and mark that add dead tag. Okay. We can also add in a note, and we could say determined to be a dead line. Okay. And then you can put right now. Let's see, which one do we want to use here? There we go. All right. So now we have the date and time of when it's been determined as a dead phone. We got the note, we got the tag, and what's the last thing we need to do? Well, we don't want to call them again, and we don't want to shoot them a text. So let's D&D. So we're going to enable D&D for all channels. Okay. Because you could do certain ones, but if it's a dead line, let's get it out of here. Right. Save. And save it one time. Right. So we have this for the Twilio. And I know it's one other thing that we have to do. So we have to use the SMS incapable. So what do we want to do here? Let's tag it. And we're going to tag this one as a landline. Because it can't receive no text. And if it can't receive a text, I don't care if it's a mobile or if it's a VoIP or whatever the call is. If you can't text it, it might as well be a landline, right? It doesn't matter unless you're going to pick up your cell phone and text everyone yourself. But trust me, if it won't go through here, it probably won't go through on your cell phone, 100%. All right. So we add the tag of landline. We're going to add in a note. Let's follow the same formula. Determine this is a landline. And we're going to do that right now. All right. And here, because we can't get any text messages, we're going to enable for specific channels. Don't get confused by this part, right? Because the disable and enable, people always confuse them or mix them up. I'm not quite sure why, but I've done it, so no hate or anything like that. But let's enable for specific channel. I mean, disable for specific channel. I see. I just said that. Disable for specific channels, and we're going to choose SMS because if we can't text it, then why are we even playing around with it? Right? Beautiful. So now we have the Twilio chat that's going to be looking for the phone numbers if they receive an error, right? So now, if they receive the dead tag and the landline tag, and I almost missed that, you guys almost let me miss it. Boom. So now that we have that, watch how we're going to do this. So we're going to shuffle these together, right? Like a deck of cards, right? So what we're going to do is come back here and we have the call system, right? And this call system is just going to knock out the calls and go straight on through. Well, let's do this. Let's add in here that we don't want to text anything that's not textable. So we're going to go if and say contact details tag does not include landline. Oops. or did, boom, does not include, oh, let me do this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a condition or contact details. We're looking for the tag, and the tag does not include dead. Okay, and we're going to save this action. So right here is the determination. So this is going to be a filter. So if we're looking here, if the phone number after we call, it does not have the tag of landline or dead, then it's going to receive this text message. If it does not have, or if it does have one of these tags, right, then what we can do is have this, and then we can add this back into the call system. We can wait for a certain number of days. Let's say 3 days. Save. And then hit the go to. And go back up to the top. So now, when we go through and we do the manual call, if we don't complete the call, like, hit complete, then it's just going to come through. And when it is not a mobile number at all, then it's going to come through. We're going to call, we're going to wait a couple of days, and then we're going to add it right back to the call system to call them again, right? Now we can add in another tag, such as if we call it a certain number of times with custom fields and everything like that. We can cut that off in order to make sure that it acts right, you know. But with the Twilio check there, that's working in the background. So after we make the phone call, and you'll see it when you make the phone call yourself, is once this goes through at about 20 seconds, no, I'm sorry, at about 12 seconds in, then you'll see the note pops up. It'll be marked as landline, all of that stuff. So you already know what's going on, right? If it's not marked as landline or anything like that, boom, it's going to come down and we're going to get this SMS and take care of that. Now, you might want to go, okay, let's go and wait. So after the SMS, we can wait again. Now, we can go a time delay where it's like 3 days, 4 days, or something like that. We text them back. We can do that to match the call down here, but we could also change this wait to make it into a condition, right? Or wait for the contact to reply, right? But if they don't reply, then we should be able to do something, right? If they reply here, then we should be able to say something, right? Wait for them to reply and then send them down the rest of this path here. But when we use the cold call system along with the Twilio check and with the system check at the settings, then we're good to go, because now you can call, text, leave the voice message, go through, even set up a longer term type of a drip on this person and keep it going, especially with the landlines too, because some of those landlines are just thrown away a lot of times. Man, I did a video on that, on how to use those landlines and make that effective too. It's all of it's in my course that I have, that you guys probably seen all over the place. But I hope that this helps, right? Because Now you're able to hit them from every angle, right? Which is the net sequential, which is that which everybody talks about. But then you also have the automations because you're not losing those landlines. You're coming back and you're following up with people. I think it was Tony Robbins, I think. No, I'm sorry, Grant Cardone, who said you don't, you most businesses win after about the fifth to seventh follow up. So with this system, the benefit, the ultimate benefit in this system is that you can follow up automatically and you don't have to do it yourself. So, like I said, we could wait until they respond, or we can wait until like a certain day or anything, right? And then respond back to them. Give it a couple of days, respond back again, add in another voice message. So, if you have two or three voice messages in your system already, you can have one, two, and three. At the end of the day, you're not burnt out because this is just going on, and hopefully those calls start coming back in. Um, and when those calls come back in, I don't know if you saw it, but you can go to the Whisper campaign. Let me show you this, and then I promise I'll let you guys go here. So when you go here to the settings and you go down here, right, you can have, where is it? Let me see, validate phone numbers, disable. Um, that's where you add in the messages. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Hold up. It's under phone numbers and the advanced settings. And it's somewhere in here, man. But it's the phone numbers, and then damn, I forgot what the hell I was talking about. But anyway, oh, the whisper message. The whisper message is when people call in, when they call you, and then you get a slight little message that lets you know who's calling before before you're able to connect with them. I can't quite find it right now. I'll probably do another video on it, but you can put the person's name and address in the whisper message. So when they call you before it connects, it'll tell you John Smith at 123 Main Street. So when you pick up the phone, you're not totally lost. So even when you're on your mobile app or, or at the computer, right? Because some of them are forwarded straight to our phone numbers, and that's how we check that out. So thank you guys. Hey, look, that was a good bill. I'm going to do one of these every week. So if you guys have any ideas on specific workflows that we could work on and get this done to break it down, let me know. But like, subscribe, check out my course because it's a 4 hour banger, and it's $49. So I mean it's full of information. I've gotten some really good reviews on it so far. So and if you see this video and you're not a subscriber, like, subscribe, check me out. Like, look at the other videos, see if anything is helpful. All right. Hey, thank you guys so much. Talk to you later. All right. Bye. Mm-mm.